Hello, hello. Welcome back to the Awakening Her podcast. How are you doing, my friend? I am smiling, and I first just have to say before we get into all the other stuff, if you've listened to any of my previous episodes, I've been having major technology issues in the last couple months. Truthfully, with my computer, it's been a slow burn. You know how it goes, right? And some of the bigger applications like GarageBand that I record in started to malfunction over time. Anyway, in the last couple months, I've had to stop using the program I was using, use a different one while I tried to decide, am I getting a new computer? What is actually happening? And I was using this program that just sucked. It did not go with my vibes. It was so hard and so tough to just record in and edit and work with that it's been really frustrating. And I got myself a brand new iPad because my MacBook, my computer actually works well other than these bigger software programs that it's basically recording, which is basically my entire business. So anyway, I got myself a new iPad and I've never had an iPad before in my life. So I opened it up a couple days ago, didn't really have a lot of time to dive in. And today I'm like, we are going to record on the iPad. Let's just see what happens. So plug in my mic. We're back to GarageBand. Thank goodness, the program that, if you have a certain program that you love and then everything else feels like scritchy. Anyway, plug it in and it just worked. So now I feel all refreshed. My computer, my MacBook actually works well other than these other programs. So I'm excited to kind of declutter the Mac, have it be the computer that I can like write on and do other things on. But now I have this brand new iPad and it is definitely a learning curve. I have an Android phone. I've had a MacBook Pro, laptop that I love. But other than that, I've never had any interaction with iStuff. I'm not an iPhone person. So I'm totally learning this whole new way of being, but I'm really excited. I'll also be bringing it to the retreat because I needed something kind of portable for my notes and the playlists and all that stuff. So I'm really excited. It's going to be perfect. I don't often get new technologies. I kind of, go pretty minimal, pretty basic, but this is pretty exciting. So I just first wanted to say I'm a little bit giddy that I can actually record with ease I can't even tell you the other program. I would be riffing and recording and then it would just stop recording. And I didn't realize that 10 minutes ago, it just stopped and it just got in my flow and in my creativity. And so we are back. If you're vibey, if you're creative, when something's off, it just gets in the way of your flow. And so we are back. I will not go on and on, but I'm just very excited about that. So hello. We are diving into something today that I know you've heard of. We talk about the present moment. I've done tons of episodes on it before. It sounds cliche, but we're going to talk about the magic today of the present moment because you guys, I've gone through my deep cleansing period of this last, I don't even know, 6 months, a year. It's been gnarly and I've risen and I'm here in the light and in the magic, in the play of it all. And it doesn't mean that I'm always here feeling amazing. There's still dense times. I'm moving through energy. We're always moving through stuff. But I have been very much reminded by my spirit team, by myself, by this lifetime that there is also magic. We don't need to stay in the why do I do this thing? And how am I going to stop doing this other thing? And what's wrong with me? We need to, yes, move through healing and awareness, but ultimately so that we can get back to the light. And in the light, it's where we bend time. It's where the quantum happens. It's where we move forward. It's where we grow. It's where we create success and results for ourselves. So today we're going to talk about the magic of the present moment, because if you're like me, or if you have a brain, if you identify as human with a brain, you get caught up in spirals about the future, about the past. Again, like I said, what's wrong with me? Why can't I seem to work out? Or why can't I seem to do this? And that actually makes time in some way speed up but slow down. It feels like we are struggling forever, but somehow months go by and we're not being productive for ourselves. We're not moving forward, even if it's in mindfulness and joy and play and really actually enjoying our lives. So much time can get sucked away by being in the trenches, being in the healing work constantly, or the heaviness work. We do need to come up for air, like I've talked about. So anyway, we're talking about the magic of the present moment. And this is where our creation power, this is where results happen. This is where we speak to spirit or our intuition. This is where we access joy and play and aliveness. It's also the only thing. I'm excited to just dive in. And before we do, I want to remind you the retreat, the in-person experience that will move your cells, your mind, your spirit. It's going to be so good. It's happening in just a few weeks. So last call, we got to get the final numbers into the retreat center. So last call, check the link in the show notes. There's USD as well as a Canadian link. You can check those out. I cannot wait to see you. This is the space where we do find the magic, where you get some space with yourself, put down your phone, walk toward the ocean, think, meditate, be supported, and I just cannot wait to see you there. This is the Ready to Rise retreat happening September 19th to 22nd. Other than that, I have a few spots for one-on-one mentorship starting in September, with a really wild and nutty one for the person, the two people, actually two spaces, the two people that are ready to go up until January with me in one-on-one mentorship. This is for those really wanting to solidify the quantum leap, move forward with support. I cannot wait to do that. So you can DM me. The information's below if you want to talk about that, as well as if you're not quite ready for the in-person and the one-on-one, but you're really wanting to learn more, to integrate more, to see yourself moving forward all the time. What I really want to recommend is On the Path. That's my private community. It's a podcast like this, but it's ongoing education. I bring all my best stuff to On the Path. This is where we go through monthly themes. We do weekly deep dives, weekly practices to really integrate it, make it tangible. This is basically an ongoing course, and it is so powerful. As I said, we're really taking the healing work and making it real. We are bending time. We are quantum leaping. If you want to join On the Path, it's just monthly. You can go at any time if it doesn't resonate. I would love to see you over there. Check that out below as well. And then we also have the Path app, which is a center for meditation, supportive articles, journal prompts, basically like your companion to your daily practice, somewhere where you can go for resources. And I would love to see you on the path as well. You can join that for 5 days free just to try it out, see if it's for you. So we have everything from apps to ongoing education, one-on-one mentorship, retreat, depending on how far you are dipping your toe into this world. I cannot wait to support you in that. All the links are below for those things. So without further ado, let's just dive into today's topic, the magic of the present moment. Take a sip of water and let's do it. Okay, so we're going to start in a very relatable area to most of us. We're going to talk about the example of health. So you can insert whatever your goal is if you're working on business, or maybe it's more about money, or anything that you have going that you want to achieve, but we're just going to use the example of health. You cannot endlessly say, I'm going to be healthy later. You can't endlessly be only in the dream or the goal, meaning if you're just going, oh, I'd love to lose 20 pounds, or I'd love to be able to run a marathon, or I'd love to, feel lighter in my skin and more vital. You can't just always say, I want to do that. I want to take care of my health. I want to, lose weight. Whatever it is, health happens in the right now. Only now. Like right in this second, as you take a sip of your water, you are being health. When you choose to eat foods that are supportive to your body, whole foods, vitamins, nutrients, proteins, good fats, whatever it is for you, when you choose foods that are supportive to your body, that are conducive to health, you are being health in that moment. When you take your vitamin, when you go for your walk, when you lift your weights, when you do your mindfulness practices, when you do your breathing, you are being health in the now. If somebody only was health later, they would never be healthy. It's the carrot on the end of the stick. Oh, when January comes, when I quit sugar, when this other thing happens, when life calms down, when the gym, is closer to my house, whatever you want to say. That, and we've all been there with many things, and I've been there, and I do that where I'm like, oh, I really want to be doing this. Oh, I really want to be doing this. And then the moment comes when you realize that it only can happen in the here and now. When you eat the salad instead of the drive-through food, when you cook at home instead of ordering again, when you honor your body, when you bless your food in a way that is resonant to you, when you drink your water again instead of more coffee or instead of your soda or instead of whatever else, that is when you are being health. And that is where health lives, in this moment. Not just on a vision board, or else it stays on a vision board. Not just in your 6-month plan for next year, or else it will always be next year. You guys, same as me, we are moving through time, right? We are getting quote unquote older. So we see how time actually passes very fast, especially when we have a goal of this and then another, New Year's comes and we're like, this is the year I'm going to do this. And then another and you can look back, and this is not in shame because again, it's a reflection of myself as well. I've done this. You can look back and say, wow, I've had this same goal for years. I've wanted to get healthier, or I've wanted to, quit my job and start something else that is, that gives me more passion, or whatever it is. Years and years and years and years can go by until the moment you realize it happens now. And if you watched, videos, or you were talking to a friend that had overhauled their health, or anyone sharing their quote unquote secrets, there's going to be a thread of that happens, or a thread of their success formula that is, I'm trying to word it, that is based in their realization, I have to do this now. I'm the one that takes myself out on the walk. They didn't get to, I want you to think of somebody, say on YouTube, and they've overhauled their health and they're telling you, you're watching this story, or again, it's a friend. And they're saying like, man, you know what I did? I did it when life calmed down. The day came, I was 52 and it calmed down. And all of a sudden I was making smoothies, I was going for walks, no problem. It's usually not that at all. It's, I got to a rock bottom where I didn't recognize who I was, or I realized that my habits were compounding, and that if I want to be healthy in 10 years, I realized, oh my gosh, it starts in the now. I got to start walking or doing mobility, some sort of realization that brought them down and back into the grounded action of it happens now. Nobody can make a change for you. No next Monday is going to be the key. And it happens with abundance, growth, success, health, vitality, anything that you can imagine. You don't become aligned in the future. You choose alignment now. You choose health. You choose abundance. You choose healing energy, self-compassion, meditation now. I shared this years ago, maybe actually like 3 or 4 years ago at the beginning of this podcast. One day I had the realization that I kept saying like, later I'm going to be present, like when I meditate or something. That's the time where I'll like be present. But like, I didn't realize I was thinking this, but in my mind I was going like, well, right now I got to like figure out the plan. Later I'll be present. And I kind of laughed at the cosmic joke of it all. We got to learn to laugh at life, sometimes laugh at ourselves. I'm going to be present later, but for now I'm going to stress out about the past. Like, what is that going to do for us, right? So I want first to start with the very grounded realization that something like health doesn't happen later. It happens right now. It's when we choose to be health, when we choose to do one thing that is in alignment with health, one thing that our healthiest self would naturally do, that is where we become it. And this brings me into the magic and into the quantum. And this is where the channel in me, the old soul, the reflector just loves to geek out about this stuff, the magical, trippy part. In this moment, there are infinite timelines available to you. If you've heard me talk about timelines, you know what I'm talking about. If you haven't, it's okay, I'll explain. In this moment, there are endless trajectories, options, possibilities of how you could show up. So there's a possibility that you could show up today feeling really good. There's a possibility that you could show up feeling really bad. There's a possibility you could show up to work with high energy and really leading the team. And there's a possibility that you could show up with your shoulders slumped in, hating every minute of it. We could wake up and choose this is a very funny example, don't do it, choose to take off all our clothes and run out into the street through our neighborhood, yelling that you are Pete Davidson. I don't know, but there are endless possibilities. You could go into work and tell everybody to fuck off. Okay, again, don't do these things. But all I'm saying is I'm painting it that you can literally do anything. You could dress up like a clown and go to a hospital tomorrow and cheer up some children. You could donate your blood. You could start training for a marathon. You could learn Spanish. You could start cooking bread. You could get into the whole sourdough thing tomorrow, today, right now. There are endless trajectories and possibilities of how you could show up in this lifetime. So when we choose a new identity, a new part of ourselves, a new way to show up, we get on a different timeline. So let's use the example again of health. If you had that realization, maybe through this episode, or maybe you've had it recently where you're like, holy man, it's in the now. I always say tomorrow, but the only time it can happen is now. I'm doing it. When you do that and say you go, you know what, I'm showing up focused on my health. I'm putting that first. Or I had a friend recently who really decided to, she called it, I think she said like protecting her joy. And that was everything. I got to protect my joy. What makes me joyful? What makes me not? That type of thing. So let's use the example of health, or you could go with joy. The moment you start showing up as that version of you, you get on a new timeline. We see it all the time where somebody or yourself, you get really into something, and maybe it could be Pilates or health or whatever. And all of a sudden you're like reading new books and you're doing new mindfulness practices, things you thought you would never do. You're putting yourself into new, situations. You go to the gym, you have a trainer, whatever it is. The moment you start showing up as that version of you, who is focused on health, who is focused on well-being, who is focused on success and being that end result, you shift timelines. You start to embody an identity that is expanded. We don't want to change you. You don't need to be different. But we want to lean into this part of your personality, the part of you who deeply commits to yourself, the part of you who is willing to outgrow things and let them go and evolve and change and get better and be healthy and be wealthy and be in peace and in the now. So right now, there are infinite timelines and ways that you could show up. So first of all, who are you being right now? Who are you choosing to show up as right now? And I catch myself all the time saying these types of things and in a meditation and feeling so good. And then all of a sudden I turn into like, oh, well, I don't, and I start reacting from lack or low self-worth or insecurity. And I stop and I breathe and I'm like, okay, we could show up as the version of us who is fully resourced or is curious instead of just reactive, or is in health, or is in boundaries, or is in the frequency of abundance, or even just not into the dark. I could show up neutral. I could show up, again, more open or curious instead of just reactive. So there's infinite ways I could show up. And when you consistently, even just for a few days, like energy works so fast, you can't hide something from the universe. But on the flip side, when you start doing things, they compound quickly. They really make a difference fast. But if you start showing up as the version of you who is committed to their health, not 100%, not all or nothing. We're talking, I'm just starting to really focus on my health now. You move onto a different timeline and you start to quantum leap. You need to hold that frequency, and we'll get into that in a second, but this is less about quantum leaping and more about the now. But this is what starts to happen. And very quickly, in 2 months, you've moved forward more than you have in the last 2 years or 5 years. All because you started meditating every day, or you started lifting weights, or you started reading new material, immersing yourself in different schools of thought. Anything that you choose, training for a marathon, learning a language, if you start showing up in that, you move forward fast, especially compared to the possibility and the version of you that does not move forward because you stay in the low self-worth or in the stuckness or in the like, I can't, I don't have time or whatever it is. And I'm just saying this with love because these options are available to me as well. I can definitely show up in my darkness, or I can choose to be in the light now. So every moment is a fork in the road. Every moment is an opportunity to be in your higher timeline. And I just want to give a little hack I didn't plan on giving, but I want to say you're committed to health and then you go out one weekend and you're eating a bunch of fast food or a bunch of alcohol or whatever, and you go like, oh man, like I was not being health. What you can do from that moment is give yourself grace, compassion, note, like, how do I feel? Usually the answer is like, ugh, I feel off. I kind of can't wait to get back to my smoothies or my weightlifting or whatever. Learn from it and offer yourself outrageous self-compassion and just move on. Just move on. And that's what I mean by showing up in that frequency, showing up in the frequency of success, of health, of high self-worth. There will be times where we dip, especially as we're learning, as we're expanding. Those are the times we pause the whole like, I'm so healthy thing, and we just give ourselves lots of self-compassion and we move on and we get back to health. We get back on that timeline. I want you to think about like you're on train tracks and you're walking along the train track and you stumble and you like fall off for a second. You just get back on and you're back on that track. You're back on that timeline. So once you start showing up as the person who is deeply committed to yourself, you start accessing the magic now. Because manifestation doesn't happen later either. Growth doesn't happen later either. Abundance does not happen later. It does not happen with the next plan or the next bit of information you're going to get or the next person that's going to claim to give you the 5 steps to like fix everything. It's not going to happen in that. It's going to happen now. And we try to bypass that because it's the simplest truth, but it can feel challenging. And we try to bypass it with like, well, okay, but maybe if I find another plan, maybe if I find another 5-step program, maybe if I do this thing that other person did. It's never out there. It's always here and now. So who are you being right now? Which timeline are you choosing right now? So going a little bit sideways or deeper or whatever into this, when we talk about the timeline we're choosing, when we're talking about how we are choosing to perceive reality right now, what experience am I having right now? It can feel like a lot of pressure, but we can look at it in fun and play. Like you're at this cosmic buffet of options. And the hack of this life is what you focus on expands. Who you be becomes you. Who you be is what will happen in the future as well until we shift who we're being. But we are at a cosmic buffet of options. There are tables of timelines where we're thriving and we're radiant and we're magnetic and we're in self-love, where we're committed to our health, where we're committed to our mindfulness, the calm us, the resourced us, the powerful us. And there are tables of soggy fries and self-doubt and old meals and old stuff that we don't need to choose again and again and again. We don't need to choose the stuff from our past. We do the healing work to give ourselves compassion and awareness of like, wow, my parents had a blueprint that they followed in their mind and all the things that they experienced. They passed that on to me and like, wow, that really messed me up in a bit. And if you have kids, unfortunately, you pass stuff on to them and cycle of life, but you move through that to realize that you don't need to choose that again now. You don't need to choose to be the black sheep now. Even if that's what other people have put on you your whole life, you are not the black sheep in your own cosmic universe. You are the creator. You are the centerpiece. You are the divine spark in which creation happens through. So what are we choosing? We are at, in some ways, as I say, a buffet of all these options available. And technically, low self-worth is just as available as reaching for more self-love. Technically, eating food that makes you feel awful in an hour is just as available as you branching out into, let's choose some more vegetables, or let's make that, recipe, or more protein, or whatever it is for you. So the universe, this life, this day is always asking you, who are you choosing to be right now? And in the now, every timeline is available. Right now, whatever you're doing, you can roll your shoulders back, feel your core kind of engage, be in a little bit of a power suit, power pose, and be like, F this day, I'm making it my bitch. Okay, that's a little extreme. But we can really walk into our day, walk into our life with life mastery, being the deliberate creator in which life funnels through. And this is the place where we do get more ideas. We do get more inspiration. In the present moment, that's where creativity is. Higher levels of excellence and drive and commitment. It's in the now as we learn to access higher timelines and more commitment into what we want to be, into what we say we want for our lives. Because all options are available. And you are somebody who is resilient. You are somebody that has always overcome. But what if we don't even need to struggle anymore? What if we can choose to be that higher timeline now? This is where we bend time. This is where we move forward more in a month than we have in the last year. So I'm going to present to you as I start to wrap up this episode to practice simple present moment awareness if you have not already, which is just about coming to the here and now. And my favorite way is to tune into the senses and just drop into your body, take a deep breath, and then just play with what can I see? Or what can I hear? Or what do I smell? Tuning into one scent or one sense, And then you can even go to another one. Sometimes in the forest, I'm just tuning into what I can hear. And there's all these birds and there's this rustling and I can hear the leaves in the trees. And I become really aware of this present moment. Or looking around, sitting on my deck, looking at the flowers, looking at the clouds, looking at the trees, looking at my puppy, looking at whatever. Being here now, absorbing the magic, the wonder, the miracles that are here right now. Getting lost in that leaf and how it looks like veins and how it looks like the veins that run through me, which also look like rivers when you're overhead looking at rivers going into the ocean. And oh my God, it's so interconnected. That is available to you in the now. But often we're sitting on our deck thinking about money or what am I going to do or this other thing or I feel so unhealthy. Maybe I should join that 90-day. No, just do it, be it now. It doesn't mean you have to be the hardest workout right now, but you can go for a walk, you can chug water, you can choose to start to identify as somebody who commits to themselves, to their health, to their well-being, to their abundance mindset. It happens right now. So first practice is to just practice being aware of the present moment and then do it again and do it again, because there are 7 million present moments in each day. That is not correct as far mathematically, but that's what I'm going with. We can practice and practice and practice because now is another present moment. And then what I want you to expand into is as you are in the present moment, I want you to think of yourself as viewing it through the eyes of your inner child or of wonder or of miracles, and really looking around as if you've never seen this stuff before. Those plants are incredible. This flower, the taste of this mango or of whatever it is that you're doing. And enjoying things with wonder as if it's the first time, romanticizing this moment. Being so in gratitude and wonder and joy that you can dance around or you can work out or you can go for a walk or you can have a sunset and a sunrise every single day. Choose to see through the lens of magic. And then what I want you to start to do is in that moment, in that present moment, as we practice this more, start to ask yourself, and this is a question I ask myself all the time, what is the highest vibration or the highest mood that I can access right now? And then I kind of go depending on where I'm at. Sometimes I'm oh my God, I could be in millionaire vibes and healthy vibes and radiant vibes. Other days it's been a hard day and I'm what's the highest emotion I can access right now? And it'll be well, I can give myself compassion. Even though this is happening, I handled it well and I used to handle, and sometimes that's what I can do. That's my highest emotion. All of these things add up because what happens in the here and now gets multiplied out into the future. It gets multiplied with momentum, with physics, with compounded actions. It all adds up. So this is what I want to say today, is that the present moment is where all the magic is. And we can catch ourselves, all the time, tripping out about something, lost in our phone, worrying about tomorrow, regretting the past. And we just need to come back, take a breath, drop into your body, tune into a sense, and start to see your life through the eyes of wonder, through the eyes of miracles, through the eyes of present moment awareness, because our entire life is made up of 100 million present moments. So this is exactly the work that I do, whether it's in the retreat, one-on-one, inside the path, because it's all about bringing it to the here and now, bringing it into this moment. And we need to be reminded. We need to be reminded to bring the healing work into the now, not just dissecting it over and over, not just slapping labels on ourselves or on our parents and just, being mad at them. We need to integrate the self-compassion. We need to be the health. We need to be the whole resourced, radiant being in the now. So I love to share practices like the thing with the senses and, really looking through the lens of wonder, because these practices help to ground this realization. So if you feel called to move forward quicker with me, with this type of medicine, I would love to see you in the retreat or in my one-on-one work, because our future isn't waiting later. And in some ways, people saying like they're waiting for timing or waiting for clarity can be the biggest trap that we can fall into, because it happens now. And when you become that person now, when you use your tools now and really apply it, life changes fast. If you or someone you knew every day for the next 2 weeks showed up in health, in 2 weeks, you'd be like, oh my gosh, my gut feels better. I'm already starting to sleep better. I totally found this new book that blew my mind. I'm meditating. It's insane how fast things change when we become aware of this. And our full-time job becomes, what can I do in the now? Who can I be in the now that puts me in alignment with that goal? Okay, my love, I think that's it for today. Powerful stuff. There's so much here. I love it. And if you feel called for one-on-one work, or of course the retreat or anything else I mentioned, check below, because, driven people need driven people. Light workers need light workers. Coaches need coaches. We need those people beside us sometimes really reflecting this back, because when we're reminded every single day, all the time, we really do quantum leap. And it's insane, as I say, how we can collapse time. That's what collapsing time means, is we really put our focus on what it is that we want. And in just a few months, we've made so much more progress than we have for the last few years. And that's the potency of not only my work, but your practices, your integration, the present moment, your moments that you create in your life. They add up fast. So let's do something that our higher vibration, or the highest emotion available, our next level self, our healthiest self, let's do something today that they would naturally do and start collapsing time now. Okay, I love it. And if you're interested in anything that I mentioned today, make sure to check the show notes. There's lots down there, and I will see you in the next episode.